Friday. It's been a little bit since I've done a video and just was working on a project, so I thought I'd go ahead and do one real quick. Hopefully it's not going to be too much traffic noise. In the greenhouse, just a little Harbor Freight 10 by 12 that I picked up some time back, still getting it all set up. I created a bench down the bottom to put the plants on, and for the most part I really haven't spent any money specifically for these projects, for the benches and the shelving that I'm doing. Obviously I did buy the materials at some point, but they were not bought specifically for this project. They've been bought for one of a number of reasons, and for the most part I'm making these projects out of things I already had. So anyway, the bottom frame that I created looks like some 2x8s or 2x12s that I had. Just made a box, a very stout box. I wanted that one to be strong enough for me to stand on. And I can get a little bit closer here. So basically just some 2x12s or 2x10s, something of that nature. The greenhouse is 12 foot long, so those are just under 12 foot. I think I actually got those from a local hardware store when I was building some raised beds at the community garden. And while I didn't get them for free, he did give them to me for supposedly their cost, mainly because they'd been sitting outside for unknown amount of time, so they were untreated, and he just wasn't going to be able to get full price for them because they'd been sitting outside too long. But anyway, so I boxed that up, took some other boards and went across. And the dark color is I had most of a gallon of tung oil. Have no idea how old it was. I don't even know if that stuff goes bad, but it's what I had. And then I've got welded wire, and I'm going to continue using that. I like that for these benches. It may not be quite as neat or whatever as some of the other wood slats and stuff, but the good thing about it is I can water on that, and it's not going to get saturated or anything. Now, you know, the frame is still wood, but it has the tunnel. But it's got a lot of ventilation. So I like having the sun being able to get through there, the airflow being able to get through there. So that's just a very, very strong box. I actually had to build it inside the thing because by myself I can't remove it. I would need at least one or two other people to be able to take it out. Very simple keeping it up off the ground. I've just got concrete blocks, and there's enough room underneath it to be able to put some empty containers and such. The greenhouse itself I've got anchored with some mobile home tie downs. That's what the red thing right there is, and that one really should be a lot deeper. The other two are deeper, but anyway, so when I put this in there I had to make a cutout to go over that and then be able to get the cables and stuff in. So this has been working out very well, but I've got it full, and there's a lot of vertical space here that's not being used, and it's always been my plan to try to get as much use out of this as I possibly can. So went back to my scrap pile, and I've got another enclosed shed, and I had built this frame as some shelving to go inside that other 10 by 12 building, and just did not use it, so it was stuck back in the back. So I just grabbed it and some other 2x4s that I had, built a similar frame. And if you'll notice, the top one's pretty thin. What's going to be the middle one sticks out a little bit farther, and then of course the one on the bottom is going to be even deeper. So I'll have, not three completely the same size. It's going to kind of stair step up, and that's perfectly fine with me. I was just trying to make sure that I've got enough room for like either one of the long flats to go this way. Just some of the flats and stuff that I've got, I want to be able, for instance, here's a sample. when I get the wire on there, so I can put 2 of those, that style. I've got a longer flat that'll pretty much take all of that up, and on that bottom one I can go 3. Put 3 deep on that, 2 deep on the top, and then maybe 1 on the top. And I'm considering later, if I do need more space coming out, I may put a piece of something about 6 or 8 inches here, and I can either just put it there with an angle bracket or something permanently, or I can put it on hinges so that I can drop it down and maybe have it come down a little bit, and then when I need it I can swing it up, kind of like some of those space-saving tables you've seen. I can put that on there and get a little bit more space. But I'm going to use that same welded wire that I've got, and I'll be going and getting my pneumatic stapler, and I may take a little bit of a video of doing that. It has been primed and painted with exterior grade paint that I had on hand. Again, I did not go buy anything specifically for the project, just using what I've already got. And this is less than 8 feet in length, because those are actually the 2x4s that are normally used for framing up for stud walls, and they are just a little over 7 foot each. So that's what I had, so that's what I used. And that'll give me some room on the ends as well to either put some kind of a shelf here if I want to do some shelves, if I want to hang tools, maybe even put a couple of box fans that I can either have blowing across that way. I can hang inside. I might be able to put some, if I want to, put some LED lighting in here if I want to do more seed starts inside. So it's going to give me that optionality. And also this distance here between all the frames, I don't think there's going to be very many times that I'm going to have plants that need all of that. Possibly in the winter there might be a little bit when I've got more in here that are staying. But if I need additional shelves, as sturdy as this is going to be, rather than building another hard shelf, I may put some eye hooks of some kind across here with some chains or a pulley system or something of that nature, and I might be able to put 1 or 2 lightweight floating shelves that can be raised and lowered. That would be good for additional shelving, or again, if I want to put the LED lights or something, I could even just lower those LED lights down right above anything that I'd be seed starting, and then raise them, on some kind of like a little pulley or eye hook system as need be. So there could be a lot of options of ways to use this as the need arises. I can put shade cloth over it if I need to, so I can just easily drape. I'll bring it out from the walls where it's not right up against, and I couldn't get it right up against the wall if I wanted to because of the cables and stuff, so it's going to leave me a little bit of room. But I'll be able to put some shade cloth if I need to, some kind of remay or something if I need to keep some bugs off. So, okay, by the way, to attach the wire on there, I'm going to be using a pneumatic brad gun. So I've got 2 of these. I've got one that does the brads and one does staples, and this is actually the stapler. It is a Porter cable, and the model is NS100 narrow crown stapler. So the stapler and the brad nailer are both for finish carpentry. I'm not a finish carpenter, but I find these to be very useful. I'm not necessarily brand loyal, although I do think Porter cable is probably one of the better brands, at least for the home person. I don't know enough about the commercial ones. One thing that I did notice on this at one point, the trigger, sometimes the pin a couple of times would kind of come out, so I'll put some, I'm not even remember what it was, it's been so long ago, but when I took it apart to clean it and stuff, to keep that from going back out, there may be supposed to be some kind of a retainer there. But in any case, any kind of pneumatic air gun, you definitely want to read the instructions, and this one still got it very, very well here. Make sure the pressure is correct, and part of that's going to be fine-tuning it on your air compressor as the train goes. So I think I've got mine set at 80 pounds right now, and I will adjust that after the first 2 or 3 staples to see if it needs to go deeper, increase the air pressure, or if it's sinking it too far down and I need to back up a little bit. So I'll adjust that on the air compressor as I go. But definitely a maximum of 120 psi, so definitely don't go above that. Anytime you use one that has not been used in a while, if it's got the cap, try to keep the cap on and keep dust from getting in there or any kind of critters or anything. When you pop that off before you connect it, there should be some oil. You can get this at the hardware store. Some will come with it, but if you run out or you lose it, you can always get some more. It's kind of like a 3-in-1 oil or something, but it's designed for this stuff. And you just put one really small drop right in there before you connect it. And if you use it a lot, you want to do this every day, and that just helps keep the piston and everything inside nice and oiled up. Read your instructions, use your safety glasses. This is for, I'm doing all this for informational purposes, not for instruction. So don't take this as any kind of training or any kind of instruction. This is purely informational. If you need to learn how to do this, find somebody that can teach you in person, and always read your manuals. Okay? These are going to be like a semi-automatic gun. Think of this as a semi-automatic firearm. Okay? One trigger pull is going to be one staple or one brad. Now, if I pull the trigger right now, it should not fire. It takes 2 things to make this fire. One, you have to have it up against, and I'm not going to put my finger directly on that just in case out for safety. But if I've got the wood right here, first thing is I have to have it against it and depressed. And you'll see that the trigger then moves. Then you pull the trigger and you'll get one staple. If I don't have that depressed and I pull that trigger, nothing's going to happen. Nothing should happen, but assume that it will. That should not happen. If I do that, nothing happens. It takes both. Now you will see some people, and I'm not sure if all of them will do this, you'll see some people that will hold the trigger down, and if they hold it, then when they do that, it will fire. So sometimes they'll hold it and they'll just go pop, 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 pop. They're not moving their finger. They're just, every time they let up, it's resetting. But basically, let's see if I can move this over here. Basically, all I'm going to do is roll the wire out. Now, the wire on top is going this way, and I'm going to put that on the top so that I can slide trays on and off easier. If I was to flip it over, which actually would be easier to unroll on this one, then I'm going to have the top wire is going to be going this way. Probably really doesn't matter, but I like the idea of having the wire that's on top going front to back so that I can slide any trays or anything on there a lot easier. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get it unrolled. So what I'll do first is unroll some of it. And you see it's got that curve, so I may have to kind of bend it a little bit by hand. Take some of that out. And then I'm going to line it up so that the front edge of this is right against that front 2x4. Hopefully that will keep me from getting too many snags. Now it is wider than this is deep, so I've got an extra couple back here at the back. I will probably come back with some wire cutters and snip that off, and that's going to leave my sharp ends on the back side, which it's not going to hurt me because I'm not going to be on that side of it. I'm going to be on the front side. So I'm going to put one staple in here. Oops. And it might help if I actually put some staples in the staple gun. Okay, so I've got two sets of staples. It's just what I had on hand. The brand doesn't matter to me. What I'm looking at, they are both 18 gauge, which is how thick the wire is, how big the wire these are made out of. They are 1/4 inch crown, so that's a 1/4 inch across the top. This one's a 1/2 inch. The leg, how deep it goes down in, is 1/2 inch. These are 3/4. I think the 1/2 inch is going to be more than sufficient, but there's not a whole lot of them in here. If I've got enough, that'll be great. If I don't, then I've got these 3/4 inch ones on hand. And the way you load this on this particular one, press that, and it'll open up. Okay, you've got a ridge and then a cavity on either side. Okay, and these have been kind of broken up. They're usually a lot longer piece, but basically they're just a staple, just like your home staplers, held together with a little bit of glue, and you just lay them on there, as many as you think you're going to need. And the fact that they're in pieces is not too big of a deal. I don't want too many little pieces, but for the most part, be able to put several of them on there and go back until it latches. And I'm going to line up the corner first and put one in. Okay, and if you can see that, there's what it does. Okay, so I'm just kind of straddling that. And then what I'm going to do is since that's holding it at the corner, I'm going to roll the rest of it out more down there and make sure I've got this edge lined up very well, and maybe hold it in place, and then I'll start at this end, and as I work my way down, I'll try to keep it straight and everything. Okay, I'm just going to work my way down, kind of trying to keep it nice and flat. And I'm not going to do every single one. I'm just going to do maybe, every 5 or 6 inches. of course, this is puncturing the paint. So I can either come back with some more paint, some silicone, if I want to do something to make sure that, you know, water doesn't get in there, or I may just leave it. Okay, and if you'll notice, especially like right in here, when that staple went in, it pulled the point of that up. Right there, it even pointed it up. So even though I'll probably not be able to get caught on that, I will come back with a hammer and or a punch, and I'm going to knock all these corners down, these sharp edges. So I've gone across here, I've gone across the front, right at the edge to hold that down. I may put another one on the back. Then I just need to go across here and basically just tack it all down, cut it at the end, trim off the back, and this will be done. And then I'll just do the same thing up top, and then this will be ready to lift up. Okay, so I've got the shelf basically done. I've got it lifted up. It worked out so that the feet will land on these boards here. So nice and sturdy there. The wire is flush with the front, and then on the back, rather than cutting it off, it was hanging back, so I went ahead and left that just as a little bit of an extra overhang, since there's room between it and the wall. That'll just give me another inch or two to in case so something won't fall off the back. Basically, it's either that or I need to bend it up to keep from anything falling off the back. With that, with the cables, I went ahead and just notched it out so that the cable can go through there. And then up on top, I ran out, actually ran out about right here, had another piece, got me to here, and then this, I'll either find some more wire, whether it's chicken wire, some kind of wire, or just rip up a pallet and find some slats, paint them, and then just tack them in later to fill this in. And so that gives me quite a bit of height still for plants up here. Enough room that I can get behind if I need to put any kind of shade cloth up there. I'm probably going to be using some of this Reflectix stuff. I'm going to find some more sheets of this reflective bubble wrap, and I may use that as part of my shade during the summer, just because it'll block 100% of light, and I'll just make panels that I can hang. Just be able to just bring it in here, slip it down, and hang it on top of that, and that'll block a lot of light and give it a little bit of insulation. Now, since this shelf is a lot shorter, then I had more than a couple of inches overhang. I had quite a bit, but rather than cutting that off, what I did is I bent it down. If you can see that, I bent that down. And now I can actually hang things. If need be, I can hang a basket, I can hang tools, I can hang water. So I can hang things with hooks from the top and from the bottom. So that's going to take care of building shelves. So now as far as anchoring it, trusty dusty Ryobi, and these brackets that'll fit the 2x4s. And then I'm using exterior grade screws with a T20 bit, and they kind of self-drill a little bit as they're going in. Now, when putting these in, what I'm doing is I'm putting the top ones in first, anchoring the bracket to the upright, and then I put in the bottom ones. The reason I'm doing that is I'm hoping that it's going to hold it a lot tighter, because if I leave this up any slack whatsoever up high, then as I drill it down, it's going to anchor it down a lot more solid. So it's just 2 screws there, 2 screws there. I'm going to do that on all 4 on the outside, and let's see. Yeah, I've got enough, and I might even put them on the inside, if not at all 4 legs, and at least the back leg. Because the main thing is, I don't want this to come forward. A lot of this, what I'm trying to do safety-wise, this is not a business, and I really don't have very many visitors. But just in case, if I start doing some plant sales, anything of that nature, if I do happen to have family, friends, kids, anybody come over, I need to treat this as if it's a business with liability in mind. So anything, any reasonable due care that I can do to get rid of sharp edges, to make things nice and secure so they won't fall. Again, anything just to keep myself, as I age, and anybody who happens to come by safe. You really need to think about that. I know that Liz Zorab had a nice little series on making the farm safe. In any case, a few more screws and that will be ready for duty, and I'll have room for more plants.